me move on to our next slide here. So good morning and good afternoon, everybody. My name is Lisa O'Brien, and I'll be your host today. We're back for our second episode of our second season of the Get a Grip webinar series. We're doing something a little different this month and have invited two guest speakers to join us for a conversational style discussion. Before I introduce our speakers, I want to introduce today's topic, which is From Dock to Done, Transforming Depal and PAL with BeRobox and Plus One. We plan to focus our discussion around enabling smarter automation at a lower cost, adapting to how the world buys and sells, and plug and play flexibility for PAL, Depal, and Repal. So a couple notes before we get started. If you have a question, please put it in the chat and we'll address them at the end. And also today's presentation is being recorded. We'll send a follow-up email to everybody with the link afterwards. Please join me in welcoming our guests. We've got Alex Lee, CSO of BeRobox, and Shaun Edwards, CTO of Plus One. I'm going to give our guests a moment to introduce themselves, starting with Shaun. Shaun, please tell us a little bit about your background and what you do at Plus One.
Sure. My name's Shaun Edwards. I'm CTO and co-founder here at Plus One Robotics. I've been doing robotics and automation for nearly 20 years now. I started off doing applied R&D. I started the Ross Industrial open source project, which some people may be familiar with. But the goal of that project was to apply advanced software to robotics manufacturing and automation needs. And then I started Plus One Robotics around 8 years ago now to address the robotic needs within the warehouse. And today my primary job is to manage the engineering team here at Plus One Robotics and determine the roadmap or the product plan moving forward.
So thanks. Alex, over to you.
Yep. Hello, everybody. My name is Alex Lee. I've been in the automation industry for close to 30 years. My early years was as an entrepreneur, working on actually some motion projects. Specifically, if you're familiar with Redbox, the DVD rental machine. My partner and I are the founders of Redbox, which then we eventually sold off. And now nobody watches DVDs and we're all watching Netflix. But anyway, so obviously I had to make a switch, went into consulting, working for a number of motion companies, most recently with Doosan Robotics, helping open up the US operations for the collaborative robot line for Doosan. And just joined BeRobox earlier this year as their CSO. And at BeRobox, basically helping align the strategy for their plug-and-play palletizer. So BeRobox makes a very easy to use. They're focused entirely just on palletizing, and it really is a plug-and-play palletizer from start to finish. And we'll get into more of that discussion here shortly. So
did you? So
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Alex. Well, I know you wanted
yeah.
to talk a little bit about our relationship together. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, BeRobox actually started developing palletizers in 2022 and has had rapid growth. So the palletizer by itself is, and these robotic palletizers in itself offer up incredible use cases and solve so many different problems in the end-of-line packaging space. But through that experience, we've realized that there's a lot of other potential use cases that customers demand and are starting to need. And this is where our relationship with Plus One, who has also been very focused in their space with AI vision, and by coupling the two together, we were able to integrate the standard palletizer with the Plus One AI vision to develop a depalletizing cell. From that, it continues to evolve even to this day. And we're finding ourselves in a lot of different applications where these types of systems are being integrated for what you call depal, repal, depal, pal type scenarios. And I'm sure we're going to get into a little bit of that discussion later on this call. So very excited about the evolution that's taking place, and certainly our partnership with Plus One, who made it all possible.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. And those videos, I wanted to show those to our audience to give a little bit of context to what Alex was saying and also what we're going to talk about basically today. So let's see, I'm going to stop sharing here and let's get into it. So Alex, the first question I have is for you. The topic is enabling smarter automation at a lower cost. So when companies hear automation, they often think high capital investment and long lead times. What practical steps can operations leaders take today to deploy smarter automation without blowing up their budgets or timelines?
Yeah, so I think we need to start by understanding that, automation and technology is constantly evolving, right? It's never static. It always gets better. We see it in the automobiles that we drive. I'm sure many of us may have an EV now. It's changed quite a bit. Even cooking in the kitchen. I remember the first microwave that my parents ever bought and brought it home. To now, yeah, I didn't know that I would have 5 different ovens in my house, but now I have even an air fryer to a steam oven. It's incredible how things are evolving and how we even cook food. In the automation space, even more so, there's a lot of automation that's taking place that's enabling what we call just smarter automation, more flexible and modular automation. And this is where we need to start embracing and exploring the possibilities. The things that are driving us in this direction, though, is also our consumers, or our customers for that matter, the retailers. And we are all consumers here, so we know that our demands are pretty high. If you shop at Costco or you shop on Amazon, the way you receive your package is very different than how we used to shop before. And so, just basically what we call smarter systems are very important. So in terms of how we approach this, I think the key would be to start small, and then to think modular, right? And then to prioritize your ROI. So this the old way of doing automation was looking at an entire line and then trying to automate the line, because the individual pieces of equipment sometimes were very difficult to integrate together. Now, that's not the case. These modular systems are specifically designed so that they integrate very easily, just like BeRobox did with Plus One Robotics, right? These are 2 separate companies with separate intentions, but because it was designed with this smart automation in mind, the integration is very, very seamless and very easy. I think our relationship started with a project, and we were able to integrate that project just within a matter of a couple months. And that product is evolving. So think small, think modular, and then also prioritize your ROI, right? Which means when you look at an entire packaging line, it does become, very intimidating in terms of a capital expense. But these modular systems, because they're flexible in terms of it's what we call like this no-code approach to robotics and so on, it makes it so easy, and the ROI is so much better. Why? Because you deploy these systems so quickly, and then you can redeploy them so quickly. So 4 things on this subject. I think, it's simply look at the bottlenecks. And typically the modular and flexible systems are designed specifically for where there's tremendous manual intervention still, right? Manual packaging, manual palletizing specifically here. So that's a great starting point. Another one is, plug and play solutions, right? So this is exactly what BeRobox has designed, is a plug and play solution. And it doesn't mean that there isn't some design work up front for you to, make sure that this fits in your floor space and things like that. But it is designed to go into your existing workspace, which is really, really cool. You don't have to redesign floor space for it. But once you design the system for your conveyor height and things like that, it truly is plug and play, meaning these systems go in and you can start operating these systems and these palletizers and depalletizers within 15 minutes. Quite incredible. And then pilot programs. I would say test the automation. And that's also available because of these modular systems. Typical long capital investments. These are huge lines that is very difficult to bring into your facility and get it equipped to just test the line. But these palletizers, we bring these in to a customer site. We deploy them in 15 minutes. They're palletizing for 4 hours or for the entire day, and then we can roll it out of there and they're back to their normal operation. So yeah, I think it's very cool where this is all headed.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Hey, Shaun, did you want to add anything to this?
Yeah. I think Alex made some great points. Our core technology is the vision system that enables depalletizing of single and mixed cube pallets. And a barrier to deploying automation or robotics in these applications has been the variety of items that have to be handled, right? And that variety introduced complexity, and it was so complex that robotic automation couldn't really address that. What we brought to the table is AI-based vision that addresses that variety. So whereas applications in the past, had to be done by humans because there was so much variety of product moving through these systems, our AI is able to handle that, and it really enables the robotic automation. The first point is variety and applying AI and flexible solutions like BeRobox's hardware to those problems. I do want to reiterate one thing that Alex said about standardization and flexible systems, mobile systems, that type of thing. We've been doing depalletizing and palletizing for about 5 years. And early on, the traditional approach was for customers to go to their local integrators and say, I have this specific problem, build me a solution. And so those early systems, that's how they were developed. And there's 3 things I can say about that approach, which is it typically is expensive. You're getting something custom that works exactly for what you need, but it's very expensive. It takes a long time. It's a custom engineered solution. Engineering is part of the expense, but it's also part of the time. And it turns out to be risky because the system you're putting in, although industrial hardened components, is custom. It's new. And so I think what Alex and BeRobox have done very nicely is they've created a flexible modular solution that is standardized. That means, it's already been pre-engineered. It's been cost optimized, and it's been de-risked because of all the deployments that successful company like BeRobox has had. So, bringing our AI vision together with this flexible modular solution that BeRobox has is the best of both worlds. It enables lower cost, faster delivery, lower risk, and AI to handle the variety. And I think this is a marriage of 2 great approaches and technologies.
That's great. Yes, very thorough, gentlemen. Thank you. I'm going to continue on this topic a little bit. Alex, I'm going to go back to you really quick. I want to add on to last question and ask you about adapting to how the world buys and sells. So consumer behavior, you talked about Costco earlier. Consumer behavior has shifted dramatically. Mixed pallets, rapid fulfillment, endless SKU variety. From your perspective, how should supply chain leaders rethink their automation strategy to stay ahead of these changing buying patterns?
Yeah, great question. So SKUs are always increasing. I don't know any company out there that isn't adding new products that they sell, right? And I appreciate it because I love all the new flavors of chocolates and things like that. I get it. And also, there's a lot of these smaller manufacturers that are popping up as well, which is very interesting, right? So a lot of ice cream companies and so on that are not just the big manufacturers, and they provide new SKU challenges and so on. So basically, this is where the flexibility and modularity that we've been talking about comes in. So let me explain that a little bit more. So the idea of a flexible system, comes in different ways, and it depends on how you want to think about it. But as the SKUs increase, you want a system where it's able to handle, all the variety of SKUs as well as future SKUs that are coming down the line. There's a possibility for these modular systems and flexible systems to also accommodate short run lines, not just the long run lines, right? These are new products that might be even just new products or even seasonal products that you need to package and palletize. And so these are opportunities. One of the things that's changing quite a bit is the way they package also. So this is where the Depal comes in. And if you look at a grocery store, you'll see there's been all of these variety packs, right? And also picnic packs. So if you've ever seen ketchup, mustard, and relish as a picnic kit at Costco, those are products that are depalletized and repalletized, right? And then you've got drink companies that all want to mix flavors. So it's nice to be able to go to a store and buy seltzer water, but not just one flavor and 5 boxes because I want the 5 different flavors, but I get the variety pack. So these things are driving all of us in automation to offer what we call these no reprogramming type systems. This is what's flexible, right? This is what allows you to be able to handle these SKUs and actually meet that ROI. ROI isn't just a matter of headcount, it's the ability to leverage this automation over and over again to handle all the variety of different product package needs that come your way. And then depalletizing is becoming more and more, if not everyone is looking at depalletizing, because the consumer, being us again, are demanding these multi-packs. The one that comes to mind that really hits home is this Super Bowl pack that I remember discussing with a customer, that they have so many different SKUs in different areas, from beverage to just food, that they wanted to package together and provide a Super Bowl pack that's customized and unique to you. So you may want potato chips, but I may want something else like nuts and things like that with my drink, and they wanted to be able to assemble that. Well, that would all be done manually without a flexible system like this. And year after year, that changes. These modular flexible systems could be redeployed and be able to handle all of those different box sizes, SKUs, which is very interesting. So.
All right, thank you. Shaun, I'm going to move over to you for this next question about plug and play flexibility for PAL, Depal, and Repal. You touched on it just a little while ago. We talk a lot about plug and play solutions. What does true flexibility look like in practice when it comes to palletizing and depalletizing, especially for facilities dealing with unpredictable inbound loads?
Yeah. So building upon some of the things that Alex was talking about, when we think about palletizing and depalletizing, a lot of it to date has been done manually. Alex talked about the variability that kind of drives the need for manual operation, but there's also things like just cost, right? Short run lines that maybe run one shift, where the ROI of full automation wouldn't have worked out, right? So the end result is today there are a lot of brownfield applications with people doing manual palletizing and depalletizing, either because of cost reasons or because the variability of product that are offering. But the combined product offering between BeRobox and Plus One addresses both those things, right? So it really enables robotic automation in those brownfields, but it also has to be able to just drop in and work. And I think that's the other part, right? If it's truly plug and play in a brownfield, you wheel up a robot to the end of your conveyor line, and it either palletizes from that line or it depalletizes to that line. And it has to be as simple as that. And it is as simple as that. And as new products come in that are different and variable, the vision system and the robot are able to adapt to that. So, in a brownfield context, that's what I think about plug and play. There's also just greenfields, completely new system designs, where being able to plug and play allows you to quickly build up a greenfield, right? And again, you're doing it at lower cost. You're doing it with quicker delivery because it's a standard flexible solution versus a custom engineered solution, and you're doing it much quicker, right? You can stand up a greenfield operation or a greenfield within your building much quicker because of the standard modular solution that Alex talked about, but just also being plug and play flexible.
And to our audience who may have not, integrated robotics in their facilities before, these bespoke systems that Shaun and Alex are talking about, they can take upwards of 12 to 18 months to integrate in your facility. And so, to have a productized plug and play solution for this is really just, it's head and shoulders, just cut so much, save so much money and time and labor and everything. Shaun, I'm going to stick with you for the next question as well. It's going to be about human in the loop and real world operations. Even the smartest systems encounter exceptions. How do you see human in the loop capabilities changing the way warehouses can safely and reliably handle unpredictable pallets?
Yeah, so I'll talk about human loop in a moment, but you brought up how long it takes to deploy a custom engineered solution. You're right, 12 to 18 months is what we've seen with those custom engineered solutions. But with a standard flexible solution like the BeRobox and Plus One combined solution, it's on the order of weeks, right?
Yeah.
So I just, that there's a huge difference. And there's so much value in being able to deploy that quickly, that I think we can't lose track of that. So that's what I have to say about deployment. Lisa, I'm glad you brought up that point because it's really important. As far as human in the loop, for single SKU applications, the level of AI that we have and the flexible solution from BeRobox, those two kind of they solve the single or few SKU applications nicely, completely autonomously, right? But there are companies out there that have very complex depalletizing, truly mixed SKU depalletizing applications. And those applications have so much variability, so much product running through the system that 100% autonomous operation is not possible. And that brings another technology that Plus One has developed called Yonder. And Yonder is our remote monitoring and intervention software. And so for really complex applications like mixed case depalletizing, for example, Yonder allows a robot in the field to ask a person remotely located, typically here at Plus One Robotics, whom we call crew chiefs, to remotely intervene. And so if the robot doesn't know what to pick next or sees something in front of it that it's never seen before and doesn't know how to deal with, the robot can make the request through Yonder to a crew chief. The crew chief, on the order of seconds, responds and tells the robot what to do next. The benefit of that is for those really complex applications, we maintain what appears to be autonomous operation, right? The people in the facilities have no idea that the robot was confused. The robot continued to work, it continued to produce, its uptime was higher. Those are all good things. On the back end of that, we take that human input and we feed it back into our AI. And so our AI gets smarter as a result of those human interventions. And as a result of the AI getting smarter, there's fewer and fewer interventions as time goes on. And so this is a way of guaranteeing uptime and performance no matter the complexity of the application. So again, for single and few SKU applications, the combined solution is completely autonomous. But the more complex ones, something like Yonder can be very powerful for ensuring productivity and uptime.
So thanks, Shaun. Alex, I'm going to move back to you. Looking forward and scaling automation, if you're advising a distribution center that has never automated, where do you see the best starting point today? And how can solutions like the palletizer and Depal One help them scale over time without getting locked into a rigid system?
Yep. I think the great starting point is what I consider to be what I call high labor and low complexity processes that are existing in each plant. So, and it doesn't mean high cost of labor necessarily, but it just means that it's labor intensive. And manual palletizing and depalletizing is one of those areas for sure. It's growing, like I mentioned before, because of the Amazons of the world who will ask you, if you're a manufacturer, to deliver me a mixed pallet of goods. It's rare that they would probably order of your product. They always require you to ship them exactly what they want. These are typically manually done, and usually it's a disruption in your high run lines and current operations. So these are areas that I would look at. It's very labor intensive and potentially injury prone because these were all automated processes that palletized the original pallet, and now you're taking the product off the pallet and then going through the entire process manually again, and it's just areas for more injury potentially. So that would be the area that I would look at first. Because these systems are very compact, I would look at these modular systems so that they can be rolled in. The BeRobox palletizers are on casters. So when you uncrate it from delivery, you're able to roll it up to your packaging line, or as a discrete piece of equipment on your factory floor, you're able to go ahead and set it up for these types of palletizing and depalletizing applications. And additionally, it doesn't require any programming. And so these are the types of solutions that you should be looking for, where you're not looking for making a decision on what type of robot you're using or what type of system. The system should be intuitive, just like your phone is, your smartphones, where you're actually just swiping screens to configure the system and getting it up and running. These, like I said earlier too, at the beginning of this call, was that these systems are very open to be complementary to other pieces of automation, automated conveyor lines, AMRs, and so on. They're fully integratable. So this is where I would start, by looking at this type of flexible modular automation. It is a lower cost entry. You can split up the packaging needs, your automation needs quite a bit, right, with these discrete modular systems. You can also test these, which are very unique, right? You can actually schedule to demo these systems in your facility with your actual product. And like I said, you could do that for a day or week and so on, and prove to yourself that there is ROI there for this. So yeah, I think this is an incredible opportunity because automation and all of the innovation that has taken place, the leveraging of cobotic technology, but we also still do industrial applications. We still use industrial robots as well for the higher speed, requirements. So very exciting where we're headed. Excited to see how the AI-enabled vision system, as it becomes smarter and smarter, is able to do a lot more as well. So the capabilities are just only increasing.
Yeah, and becoming more accessible and becoming more inexpensive. So
yeah,
it is great where we're heading. Shaun, did you have any additional thoughts as we wrap up here?
Yeah, the one thing I'll add is, we've done a lot of palletizing and depalletizing cells, and I think as BeRobox has deployed their technology, a common mistake that I see, warehouse operators making is they're not aware of this technology, so they just go to their typical automation and robotic integrators and ask for solutions. And those companies, they're going to build exactly what you need and what you want, and what you ask for, but they're not necessarily going to know about or even consider a flexible modular solution like the BeRobox solution. So I would just encourage, warehouse operators to look around at, certainly go to your trusted advisors and your integrators, but if they're not giving you, a low cost flexible solution, you might have to look elsewhere. And I think the other important point that Alex brings up is that you can slowly roll out automation. And I think if you're injecting automation into an operation, there's always risk associated with it. So the slower you can kind of roll out bits and pieces of it, that's one way to address the risk. And it's another way of just vetting, the operations of automation and whether it truly meets the ROI that you're expecting it to. And you can do that in bits and pieces through a flexible modular approach versus, a full-on automation program that includes, a full line. So I think that's the important point I wanted to reiterate.
Okay. All right. Do we have any questions from our audience today? All right, I'll keep my eye open on the chat box in case anything pops up. Let me go back to sharing my screen here. And okay, so I had a couple announcements. Gentlemen, thank you so much, first of all, for your time. This has been really insightful. I hope our audience enjoyed the webinar today. If you like this webinar, we want to talk to you about our next webinar. So it's going to be on August 27th, and the topic is Robot Relay, how ARMs and AMRs team up for smarter automation. So basically how robotic or cobotic arms work with other islands of automation is a term that we hear sometimes in the industry, like how does all that work together? It'll be same time, so 11 o'clock Central. And also I've got 2 QR codes here for you. So the first one is a homepage of our whole season of webinar episodes. So you can see what we've got coming up. You can block off your calendar. A few of those topics are already live if you want to go ahead and register, but it's a work in progress. So as I confirm details, I'll be updating those links for you. And then also the second webinar or the second QR code is for our next webinar. So if you want to scan that now, you can do it and sign up for the next one. And I think that is all I have for you. Again, you'll get this recording just for your reference, or if you weren't able to make it, you can watch the recording later on for those members who are unable to join us. And that is all I have. Oh, looks like we do have a question from Timothy. Moving to automation inherently means that the manual process either can longer handle the workload or the process itself is flawed. How do you work with your customer to ensure that there is not a manual solution still available before they embark on the automation journey? Wants to answer that one? I don't know if you guys can see the question, Alex.
Yeah. Moving to flexible automation actually means that you're actually putting it in areas that are manually done, and therefore it should not be a disruption to that process. Whereas these full automation lines are these large packaging lines. And those are still needed, obviously, for the very high-speed processes. But flexible automation, such as the one we're talking about, actually goes into where a person is currently operating. That automation can be easily removed, and then the manual process can be redeployed. That's what we mean by flexibility as well. Obviously, these systems accommodate that type of need, and that's the beauty of it. And that's what actually gives you that what we call like low risk. This is almost future-proof investment for getting into automation.
Yeah. I'll just add to that. When we're talking about palletizing and depalletizing specifically, these are actually it's backbreaking work. You know, some of these loads can be very heavy, and you know, human workers are expected to pick 500 to 600 items per hour. So this job in particular, you know, has it even though it is done manually, because it had to be. Because of, you know, variability and ROI concerns, it no longer has to be. And so I do think this is a task that we really don't want people doing. And I know in Europe, they're making regulations where people can no longer do these types of jobs. So automation of depal and palletizing in particular is good on several fronts and may soon be required, you know, if the US catches up to EU regulations. So I definitely, you know, agree that automation is not always the solution, but for the specific applications we have, you know, now that we've addressed the variability and ROI concerns, it is one I'd highly recommend our customers automating.
And another thing too is, you know, maybe you don't have a labor problem, but if your competition is automating and now all of a sudden, you know, your ROI is dropping in the marketplace against everybody else who's automating, it's something you definitely need to consider, you know. It is the faster way to scale and do business. So it looks like we've got one more question that might be coming. I want to give it a minute and see if they finish your thought. Okay. As a follow-up to Shaun, how do you factor in unquantifiables such as backbreaking work into the ROI calculation for the customers?
Yeah, I would love to tell you that there's a line item on ROI calculation spreadsheets in every one of our customers where they, you know, they talk about, you know, the cost of injury. Some customers definitely have that, and when we talk to customers, we talk about the cost of injury. You know, could be upwards as high as 50 or 60K a year in kind of the applications we're dealing with. But you know, that's kind of a harder discussion to have with customers. What we really try to hammer home is, hey, the ROI here makes sense because not only are we, you know, removing human labor from a difficult task, but in a lot of cases, the robots can actually exceed human throughput, right? So the ROI is not just on labor savings and reduction of injury. It's also just on overall throughput improvements versus you know a manual operation. So we try to make the ROI so compelling that that really the reduction in injury is just the cherry on top of the ROI.
All right. Any other questions today? All right. Let me see. If you want to get in touch with us, here's our contact information. I will get your email if you'd like to get connected with one of our speakers. I would be happy to connect you. You can also look them up on LinkedIn if you like. Again, thanks everyone for being here. And Alex and Shaun, we appreciate your time today. Thanks so much, everybody, and hope to see you next month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.